right, what's up, everybody? So new video series here. Just completed my Purple Steel one last week. Hope everybody had a good holiday break. But back again and gonna get started on a new deck series. We're gonna be looking at Ruby Amethyst. A lot of reasons why I'm picking this deck, but I'm calling this Big Fundamentals, the Ruby Amethyst Deep Dive. This is really gonna be all about the game itself and learning a lot of these fundamental things that really make players great at the game. And Ruby Amethyst is like the perfect deck to kind of showcase a lot of these things. So, real quick, day one today is really going to be about deck construction, and then I'm going to get my first 10 matches or so in. Why Ruby Amethyst? A big reason, educational availability. There's tons of content out there on this color combination. We have, a pro and, in Kendall Burdett, No I'm Not, who has a guide. Tons and tons of gameplay. His Charlie Collectibles tournament run is completely featured on YouTube right now. You can watch every match you played. So there's an incredible amount of educational availability when it comes to learning this deck. So with that out there, there's no reason why someone can't consume that, learn from it, practice it, and really try to grow their own skills. So there's an abundance of deck lists as well. There's tons of people who play this deck, lots of different takes on kind of the few little tech choices that exist out there. So there's going to be a lot to explore when it comes to those little fine points, while also having a really, really concrete core. There's few flex spots in this deck, essentially. There's a lot of automatic 4-ofs, a lot of automatic cards, and there's 5 to 8 cards that are really flexible from deck to deck. Sometimes more, sometimes there's hardly any flex with some of these deck lists. They're very, very similar. They're 1 to 3 cards off. So there's a concrete core deck to really work with and learn. Big reason why I want to do this as well is this deck wins based on a consistency of basics. This deck is all about just drawing cards, playing to the board, removal, planning a turn or two ahead. There's a very subtle mastery to this deck, all about those kind of small micro decisions that come about through just building upon these little fundamentals turn by turn by turn until you win via these basic principles. From Miyamoto Musashi, if you know the way broadly, you can see it in all things. Again, another reason why I want to learn this deck. When you can do these broad, basic things that apply to all aspects of the game, you can then apply this to, I believe, any other deck you pick up. So there's a certain basic knowledge that I think gets transferred when you learn a deck like this and learn a deck well. I don't expect it to be easy. It's going to be very challenging, I'm sure, to get to master all these little points. But I'm trying to get better at this game. I want to play competitively. I would be, remiss to not focus on a deck that focuses so hard on the core basics of the game. There's some initial questions that I have when approaching this deck. I put my own list together already after going through a composite of some other lists, which we'll go over here in a second. But some of my initial questions, what top end do I like? There's different numbers of, 5-cost Maui and lists going from 2 to 3, sometimes 4. The different counts of Lady Tremaine and Madame Medusa. What counts do I like there? How many B preps, 3 or 4? I haven't seen too many decks with 2 or anything, or less, but really is that 3 or 4 question. And then the 8 drops. Do you play 8 drops at all in terms of 8 drop Sisu and now 8 drop Elsa, which is kind of the flavor of the week? What do I like in terms of my top end? A lot of these are uninkable too, so I got to take that into consideration. What's my Genie Rabbit mix? A lot of people are on a 3-3. Some people like 4 Genie 2 Rabbit. Some people like 4 Genie 3 Rabbit. There's a mix there. So what do I feel is best for me? What do I find success with? What do I end up carving out as my take on the Genie Rabbit mix for Ruby Amethyst for myself? How many 1-drops? 8 is kind of industry standard. We see some decks creep up to 9 and 10. Totally depends. Meta's pretty fast right now, so I kind of like the idea of having 9 to 10 1-drops and then some Crab. Crab is another card that has been making an appearance in some Ruby Amethyst lists. So how many 1-drops do I want to run? And then how important is the Crab right now? People are popping it in there. To combat aggro decks. So a big question I have right away too is okay, does Crab actually do that job? On 3, if you're playing Crab, pumping a 1-drop and trading, is that happening enough to where that's actually making a big difference for you? Or is it just fine to play Sisu, the hand Sisu on 3, or Fox, or whatever? But that's gonna be a big question: is do I want the extra 1-drops, and is the Crab doing the job that it's supposed to be doing? Flynn rider controversy. This isn't really a controversy. Most players, are still running for Flynn. There's a lot of talk on Discord though about how Flynn is not doing them any favors. So the possible cutting of Flynn, but there's not really a good substitute right now. There's Queen of Hearts, there's Cusco, there's just going up to 12 1-drops. There's even some crazy things out there with Skateboard Mim or even like Pegasus 2-drop with evasive. I don't know. But for now, my question is, okay, is it 3 or 4? I'm going to be playing Flynn for sure in my list. Locations, when are those coming back? This is another kind of hot topic right now of, some lists coming back with Queen's Castle, some lists running Library. There's incredible, locations in purple. So when are those going to come back or not? When is it going to be the standard again to be running 4 Castle or running 2-3 Library? I don't know, but that's a question to begin with. And then what else could be good that's like not being played right now? Kendall has run a Dragonfire in his list, as has Ed, which looks really good at times. Pirate's Life is a really interesting tech card to throw in there. Being able to drain off 2 lore against aggro can sometimes be the difference between winning and losing. Be King Undisputed is another card that is a mainstay from Ruby Amethyst from decks in the past, but now has been talked a little bit about getting its way back in the deck. But a lot of aggro right now, I don't see that card being incredibly great. But the combination though of like on turn 5. Playing a brawl on a character and then singing Bee King with a 4-drop, to take out 2 characters on your turn 5 while also adding to the board, or bouncing a rabbit or whatever. That sounds really great to me. So there could be some life for that card. Who knows? So those are kind of my initial kind of questions out of the gates, though. As I get started, looking at some of the most recent tournament results for decks, I'll look at tournaments this size. That's not bad actually, but I'm not really going to look at tournaments with 15 people. I'm going to go straight to the Southside Gaming tournament that just happened. As we all know, if you're on Discord at all, Casey Hill won this with a very, very unorthodox take on Ruby Amethyst. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be adopting from this list, but is 1-drops, 8 1-drops, 3 Chernobyls, 3 Magic Room, 2 Moana, which is kind of again the spice of this deck. Goes nicely with Flynn, of course. Otherwise, pretty standard. Running Crabs on 4 Genie, 2 Rabbit, so that's the mix that works best for him. Bell, that's another kind of flex card that people are running 2 of, sometimes 1 of, sometimes not at all. Elsa's a mainstay, Maui's a mainstay, but at 2, and then 2 of each lady. 1 Elsa, 1 Sisu. This is the part that I actually kind of like. I've played Sisu in the past in this deck, and 2 sometimes doesn't feel great against all decks. So the split actually I think doesn't sound bad at all, especially just having another dimension of attack with playing Elsa Fifth Spirit. 3 Brawl, that's a little controversial. 4 is usually the number, but if you're playing some of these other cards, like if you need to make space for Crab, then I guess that makes sense. 3B Prep, fine. Friends, fine. So some interesting things here. The Elsa is a new flavor of the week card. This Moana, in terms of mixing in with the 1-drops, is pretty unorthodox. So but congrats to them, they took it down. Big tournament too. So let's see here. Any other Ruby Amethyst decks in this list? Nope. Okay, nothing there. So let's move on. Let's take a little look here. 56 players, that's worth taking a look at. Anything here we want to look at? All right, 3rd place, Ruby Amethyst. Let's take a look at that one real quick. Top 16. I'm not going to go down to top 16 in a 50-person tournament. This was what, 56? Yeah. Let's just take a look at this one and just see what it looks like here. Okay, pretty typical. Okay, they're on 3 Flynn. 2 White Rose, that's an interesting inclusion, kind of additional goats, I guess. 3 Genie, 3 Rabbit, that's the mix they like. They're running Bell, up to 3 Maui, 2 and 2 in the ladies, 1 Sisu, 3B Prep. Okay, so fairly standard, other than shaving the Flynn is an interesting thing to look at. And 2 White Rose is an interesting thing to look at. They're still on 60 cards. So, okay, that's an interesting thing to think about. White Rose isn't something that would jump to me immediately with including in Ruby Amethyst, but, again, interesting inclusion. Let's go down here. 60 people, Oakville. Let's take a look at this. Top 4, top 16s. Okay, so there's not a lot reported for this event, so we're going to skip over this one. Let's go down here. Okay, so here's the stuff from CCS. Let's look at the second day event. There is a deck in here that I liked a lot. David Nunez, he did an interview or something a long time ago on an Amber Steel, Steel Song deck that I heard him speak, and he really sounded like he knew what he was talking about. Like, I really respected his take on a lot of the strategies for that deck, so I'm curious to see what he's playing. Pretty standard, 8 1s, 4 Flynns on the 4-2 mix for Genie Rabbit, just 1 Bell, up 3 Maui, so that's probably a little choice to make there. 3 and 3 on ladies is really heavy. You don't see a lot of 3 Tremaine, especially. 1 Sisu, fine, 3 B Prep, 4 Friends. Okay, so what am I not seeing here? No crabs, 4-2 mix, up on the Mauis, only 1 Sisu, shave a B Prep. So it's almost like shave a B Prep, shave a Bell, and get like and no crabs, of course, and then an extra Tremaine. So I mean, again, that's a high amount of ladies there. So what is this for uninkables? That's 6, 12, 13, 16 uninkables. That's kind of what this deck is running now. I guess I could have just looked up here too, but all right, interesting to go super heavy on ladies. This was back on the 15th though. This was a while ago. Let's keep looking here. Anything interesting else? Nope, we're good. That one. Let's just take a look at the last big CCS one, which we know. Kendall got 4th in this event. Pretty unorthodox. I mean, I shouldn't say unorthodox, but he was running the Maui Fish Hook, which I know that he said he didn't really like right away. The Dragonfire's in here, which again I think is a very cool inclusion. Only 1 Tremaine, 2 Medusa, so pretty light on ladies. Up a Maui though. Just 1 Bell. I think I remember him saying something like he shaved a Bell for the Fish Hook or something like that. 3 and 3 Genie Rabbit split. And I know he's talked about too wanting to go more than just the 8-1 drops. So interesting to look at this list. Again, this is 2 weeks ago, so quite a while. A lot can change in that amount of time. Anything else on this day I want to look at? Let's just take a look at one more here. Top 16. Again, 8 for Flynn, 4 and 3 on the Genie Rabbit mix, still 2 Bell. This is 61 cards, which is kind of interesting. This is the first one that's also running Castle, so 2 Castle here, which is just an interesting thing to notice. So, all right, so you kind of get the picture. A lot of this is the same from deck to deck to deck to deck. This is the first one we've seen with locations, but the 1-drop counts, the 4-ofs are very consistent. It's really just this top end mix that I was talking about. So, for the beginning, I think what I'm going to do, and I kind of pre-made this deck after looking around, is I'm going to try a little bit of everything. So I'm going to go up to 9 for the 1-drops. I'm just going to do a 4-3-2 mix. This is the same as Casey, I believe his name was, who won the Florida tournament, the Southside tournament recently. I want to go up to 9 because I do want to run the crabs. I'm going to start off being a little more leaning towards an aggro mix. I'm going to do 3 Flynn out of the gates too. Kendall had a list that he wanted to start testing that he posted to a Discord recently that had shaved a Flynn. I take that as enough of a sign for me to try just 3 to begin, and we'll see if it's crushing. Maybe I'll want to go up to 4 immediately, or maybe I'll find that I don't like this card as much as other people in Discord have said. I'm going to do 3-3 in my Genie Rabbit mix just out of the gates. Rabbit is a lot better into some decks with, where the attrition is important. So I'm going to start there, but I could see going to 4-2 no problem. Just 1 Bell, 2-2-2 on the Maui Lady Tremaine Medusa mix. I'm going to try the 1 Elsa to see how I feel about that. Keep the Sisu, just do 3 B Prep. I played this deck in the past, again, not super seriously, but it really sucks having multiple B Preps in your hand at times. It's bad having it in the beginning of the game. So 3's okay with me. There's enough card draw to where you should be fine. You got the Sisu, so that's your 4th wipe. Got an Elsa, so it's another kind of extra thing. So this is what I'm going to go with. The Flynn number might change right away. The 1-drop mix could change. I might go to 4 and 2 on the Genie Rabbit mix, or I might even go 4 and 3. Who knows? I'll see if I want more Bell, see if I want more Maui or any of the particular ladies. But we'll go from there. I think that's pretty much it for now. Just so everyone knows the process, if you didn't watch my Purple Steel videos, I'm going to do 20 matches at a time before any changes, and then 20 matches in between. So basically every 20 matches I'll make changes to decks. Changes are going to be 1 variable at a time. I'm not going to change up everything all at once. I want these to be controlled experiments. Gonna do a video every 10 matches to kind of report how things have been going, things I've been observing, changes I'm making, lessons I've learned on my own beats, everything. And then I'll kind of review the techniques and matchup dynamics, what plays work well, what lines work well, what I've discovered in each match. So thank you guys for taking the time to take a look. I'm going to get playing and be back to report on my first 10 matches here soon. So thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.